Oh, there weren't?
It's not a gas station. I'll be there. Okay.
Well, I'll let Hero Max sit up front now.
Thank y'all for coming. Did y'all sign in? Did y'all sign in?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're doing this stuff that I don't like giving up the city to Ryan, so we can talk about everybody. Sit next to her.
I counted Edie in my count. And she's not coming, so.
So we really need that voting. We really need that voting.
Well, that's our, we're video out. And we want more video on it, so.
I'm short, they ain't gonna be able to see me. The podium's taller than me. Seriously, yeah.
I just have to upload. If you want to just move it, just don't block the doors. Don't block the exit, Mr. Fire Marshal. She was going to try. She had already made an eye appointment, which she had already had to reschedule once. And she was kind of fearful of her eye doctor's breath. But she wanted to be here. She felt like she hadn't been here as long as the rest of us. And she really felt like it would be helpful to her. But I told her that, worst case scenario, we are video and audio. Thank you. See if Mac or Wayne. Oh, I know Wayne will see it. Well, it shouldn't take long. I just want to pin down everybody's thoughts on what we said and suggestions. And then we're going to, Mary and I are going to submit today, once we have to today, to go before the BCC next Tuesday to request permission to pass the ordinance and then take it to the first meeting in August. Permit, yes.
Are they going to go? Are they going to get a copy of the ordinance? I got you. I'm with you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get started because it's 9 o'clock. My name is Carrie Thiemann, and I am over outdoor event processing for the planning department of Walton County. I'm just going to start here and ask everyone to just give their name and which department that they work for, and then we're going to give you a little information.
I'm Bob Martin, Tax Chief, Walton County Fire.
Mary Cooper, Administration.
Sammy Sanchez, South Walton Fire District.
Ryan Crawford, South Walton Fire District.
Deputy Sheriff, Walton County Sheriff's Office.
Lieutenant Danny Garner, Walton County Sheriff's Office.
Lieutenant Tony Foreman without contact.
Okay. What we wanted to discuss today is the outdoor event process, getting your permits. I'm sure you've all seen a copy of the ordinance, and if not, I can give you all information on how to get to it on our website. Certain things, we've been having problems with processing these because of not everything being followed. One of the things that we want to let everyone know, and it says so clearly on the application, is that all outdoor event permits must be submitted 45 days in advance of the event, and we will start enforcing that because one of the other things that we're going to do, number 2, is we have formed an outdoor review committee for outdoor events because in the process, people submit their application and then they're trying to track down us or sheriff or fire to get all their approvals, or they've got to get on the BCC agenda if they're going to close any roadways. Rather than trying to track different people down, because we all do other things other than just process outdoor events, we are going to hold an outdoor review committee meeting once a month. So when you submit your application 45 days in advance, you'll go to the next meeting. Right now, the meetings are going to be held the first Monday of every month, right here in this room at 9 a.m., except for September. Because of Labor Day, that meeting will be Monday, September 8th. It'll be the following Monday at 9 a.m. here in the boardroom in South Walton. All of us will be present, and we will treat it like our technical review committee treats brand new development projects to the planning department. We will have all of the applications, and we'll take them one at a time. You'll come in, everyone will look at them, everyone will give their comments, and at that point, we will give you our comments on anything else that needs to be done. You will not get your permit that day, but you will know if there's still anything you need to do or if everything appears to be in order, and at which time, within the next week, you will receive your permit. And that way, everyone is reviewing it all at the same time, and if you have questions, you have everyone at the same place at the same time instead of trying to track down anyone. We're trying to streamline the process and make it go much more smoothly for everyone involved. So the 45 days will start to be enforced. The fees on the current ordinance, there seems to have been some misunderstandings because the ordinance states that there will be a non-refundable fee of $100 for an outdoor event. Apparently, they've been paying $100 at the beginning of the year for a calendar of events, and then nothing for the rest of the year for the events, and that is not how the ordinance reads. It is $100 per event, and we will begin to follow the ordinance as it reads. Also, a lot of people have been under the impression that when they file their calendar of events, which is basically just a list of what they're gonna have, and sometimes all it lists is the month. It'll say in this month, we're going to have this run or this festival. And then they think that they don't have to do anything else, and we don't receive any other paperwork, no one receives any other paperwork about the event, and we get calls that this event, that event's going on. Calendar events was just to let us know how many events we're gonna be having coming up in a particular month, especially like July and May, different months where there's a large holiday where there's lots of events. But that was not your permit for each and every event for the entire year. So every single event has to be reviewed by sheriff, by fire, by administration, by planning, to see what needs there are, if there are any needs for security, if there are any needs for safety. Our main goal is we want people to come to Walton County. We want people to have fun and boost the economy, but we want everyone, Walton County citizens and visitors, to be safe. We do not want incidents where someone is harmed when they're enjoying themselves in Walton County. So that is our main goal. So that is why each and every event needs to be reviewed by the whole committee and determine any needs there are, because an event that has 50 people is not going to have the same needs as an event that has 2,000 people. And whether there's alcohol served or not alcohol served, there's different safety needs, liability issues, and we just want all of these events to be safe for everyone. At this point, I'm going to ask Tony Corman to tell us a little bit about alcohol permits. I believe there are cases where if you're not a restaurant or a bar that already has a liquor license, there are events that can get a temporary permit. If you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, what we have is $25, 1, 2, or 3 day temporary permit. That's only for nonprofit organizations. If you're a for-profit organization, you can't get it, you have to get a regular license. But for nonprofit organizations, $25, you get 1, 2, or 3 day permit. You're allowed to get 3 of those a year. We ask that you turn that application in at a minimum 7 days before the event takes place, so we can work its way through the process. So if you turn it in on Friday and the event is Saturday, you may not get a license. Keep in mind, even if it's a non-profit, even if it's whatever it may be, it is against the law to sell alcohol without a license, so you have to get the license. A lot of people will say, what if you give it away? Make sure you understand that when you're giving alcohol away, there's nothing against the law to give it away, but it has to be totally free. You can't charge a fee to get in. You can't say it's only for members. You can't put any restrictions to it. It's free. It has to be free to everyone that is 21 and over. That pretty much covers the temporary events. We also allow places that are already licensed to extend their premises. They can do a temporary extension for $100. Like if this is your licensed premise, you want to extend it, you're very contiguous to that. For $100, you can extend the current licensed premise. Anybody got any questions about those? I know some of you I've worked with before on getting those, so you could probably get up here and talk about it.
I was told there would be no math.
They can't take donations for the alcohol either.
Well, you can't require that. You can't require anything for it. The alcohol is not free. You can't even require someone to leave an email address. Of course, the rule of that is something value. You can sell those. And like I said again, if you're going to do something free, it has to be totally free. There cannot be any restrictions to it at all. Yes, ma'am.
What if you just had a donation jar there and you didn't require it, they didn't put money in, it was fine, they still got the alcohol, is that?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, just make sure, I can assure you that some bar undercover agents are going to come there and get some free, see if it doesn't put a donation in. So just make sure that you know, it's free.
Tony, I have a question. what if it's totally free and they have a jar that says tips for the bartender?
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine, okay,
Like I said, it just can't be required.
okay. Any other questions for anyone?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Can you have an event and say ticket purchasers have a certain glass, but then you serve alcohol in another glass for people who maybe aren't paying to come into the event, but you're not telling anyone they can't have the alcohol, it just is the glass that you pour it in, that's the difference.
Yes, I'm not understanding. You mean, try to say it's free?
Okay, so say, I have an event and I'm selling tickets to the event, and part of that ticket price is you get like a custom wine glass.
Got it.
So people are coming around the event and people who have the custom wine glass, you pour in. But people who don't have a wine glass, you're still not telling them they can't drink. You just have maybe a different plastic cup to serve them in.
Well, the problem, I mean, if you're selling that wine glass, a ticket that includes that wine glass for a price, then that's basically selling alcohol.
But if it's like, say it's in, I don't know, a public park or something, so you're not telling anyone they can't come in. And you're also not telling anyone they can't have any of the alcohol, you're just pouring it in a different glass, because obviously they wouldn't have that glass because they didn't purchase
So in
it.
other words, you're gonna furnish the alcohol to anybody that wants it, that's 21 or older.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that would be fine. As long as you're furnishing it, it's free to everybody.
They're still required to deal art and
Yes,
everything.
you still would be responsible if you sell it to someone under 21.
Oh, of course.
Any other questions? Okay, next on the, list is something else that has not been, addressed enough. And this will be, asked on the application. We're revising the application a little bit to get the information that we need to permit this properly and to pass the correct regulations on to you, the event planners. Live music and amplified noise. We will now ask on the application, it asks you to list the time of start of the event and the conclusion of the event. We will ask you to list the hours that amplified music or amplified noise will be played, because we do have certain hours that you cannot have amplified noise. Danny, can you address when y'all get calls? I believe it's after 10 p.m., isn't it? If you can address a little bit of the calls that the sheriff's department gets when outdoor events occur with live music.
As you know, the noise ordinance is being reevaluated. I think it's at its second reading right now, so it may be changed. The current way we handle it now is the cutoff time is 10 o'clock p.m. All music's supposed to be cut off. If we get a call from, most of our calls are complaint driven. If we get a call from a neighbor, and they do know the law. I've dealt with, some of the neighbors around the resort, around the places, they do know the law. They will start calling us at 10 o'clock. We will respond. We try and give the event, a warning. We don't go up there and arrest the person right off the bat. We usually try and work with the person, saying, at 10 o'clock, you can't have any music that you've heard from the neighbors. Currently, until they decide if they want to use the meters, is what the officer, if it can be heard, I've got the yardage or the foot, if it can be heard from that area, it's a violation of law. Usually after the second time, we give you a second warning, usually someone will be going to jail for disturbing the peace. So that's basically how we handle it now. It may be changed by that new noise ordinance, but again, I don't know how they're rewriting that right now. Does that answer everybody's question? Okay. Again, like I said, 10 o'clock is easy to work with. You can start your event earlier in the afternoon, and if you finish by 10, that's no problem.
So the event can go past 10, but the
The event can go past
amplified
10.
music music.
No music. And, like I said before, these residents, they do know the law, and they are calling us, and we will handle the case.
Okay. And like I said, the application will ask you on your plan where you list the, start and conclusion time, it will ask you for the hours that you're going to have music on the application. If you'll just list that. After this meeting, it'll take a few days. I'm going to finish the revisions that we've discussed to the application to give us more information to process it, and I will email all of you. So I hope everyone signed in either by their name that I already had, or if I didn't have your name, if you listed it with your email address, and everyone, if you will, when you get the new application, throw away all your old ones, because I know some people printed out the application a year and a half ago, and they just keep making copies and using it. We've found some applications that are out of date anyway. So when I email you the new one, if you'll just throw away all your old versions. Appropriate lighting for safety shown on all parking plans. We've had some events where there were large crowds of people, alcohol being served, parking near a hazard, and no lighting whatsoever. And I know that none of y'all want to be held responsible if someone is stumbling around under the influence of alcohol and falls into the bay or a pond or gets hurt. So we are going to start requiring that you show how you're going to light, especially if it's like off-site parking. If you're having off-site parking somewhere else, we need to know that the people are safe, especially if they're being transported. You know, they're coming back from an event 11 or 12 o'clock at night. It's late, it's dark. We just, once again, want people to be safe. So we will ask that you show that, because it requests that you show your parking plan, and if you'll just show how you'll be lighting your parking areas on there.
They also have to have permission of the property owner, right?
Yes, that's another thing. If you're using off-site parking, we've had some large events where they've used church parking lots and different things like this, private property owners' parking lots, or a parking lot of, say, a doctor or a dentist's office, or something that's not open on Saturdays when the event is, and they've leased or had a parking agreement with them. You must have a signed parking agreement with that person turned in with your application. We will not process your permit unless you have written permission from the property owner to park on their property. From here on out, we need to make sure, a lot of times people are filling out applications and they're not filling it out completely. They just kind of skip over this, that, and the other. Our policy in the planning department for all other applications, development orders and what have you, is we don't take an application unless it is complete, and that is how we will be processing the outdoor event. Fill out the applications completely, please, because we need the information for different things, and also we need an email address on all applications, some email contact, because that's how we are communicating between all of our departments and the applicants. Okay. Does anyone have any questions this time? Yes.
What qualifies as an outdoor event that is permitted?
Okay. Right now, we are going before the BCC next Tuesday and requesting permission to make some revisions. And like I said, our discussions have all been about the safety of event goers and the citizens of Walton County. Right now, an outdoor event shall mean any planned assemblage of the general public held outdoors within the unincorporated areas of Walton County for which admission is charged and/or booths are available for rent. Outdoor events may include, but not be limited to, contests, fairs, carnivals, festivals, concerts, seasonal or annual events, competitions, car shows, art craft shows, or other similar activities which meet the definition listed in herein.
So a concert that isn't charged admission wouldn't be required?
How many people?
So, then,
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have an account for it, it's just animation that we do on a weekly basis. So if we have a weekly Wednesday night concert, and they can fluctuate between 100 people and 400 people.
Yes. Okay, it It does say for which admission is charged and our booths are available for rent. But
Well, I think that's one of the issues we've all been struggling with, Alan, is what really constitutes an outdoor event. If you have 50 people walking around in high heels, is that an outdoor event? I don't know. You have 500 people walking around in high heels.
And I've got a magic show every Thursday that can be 20 people watching it to 150.
Right.
I mean, 12 nights out of the year for 4 months.
Well, I totally get it, because I'm the one that's getting called at the midnight hour, asking where the permit's at for your event that, quite honestly, historically, we've never permitted for. So this is all kind of, when we opened this can of worms, we realized there was some issues here that we'd all have to address, and that's really the reason we're all here today, is try to figure this out and come up with some new language that is going to be more definitive of what constitutes an outdoor event and what isn't. I think at the end of the day, we want to look at everything, but whether you need to get a permit or pay a fee, that's going to be the big question, I guess. Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna let the county address that,
okay,
because I think that is its own separate animal.
what did she ask?
Weddings.
Weddings. Weddings fall under a separate ordinance. This is only outdoor events, meaning runs, triathlons, festivals, wine festivals, arts craft shows, outdoor events. This, there is a separate ordinance that covers weddings and wedding events. The one thing, we have a couple of things in the current ordinance that kind of cover, the main concern is safety when you say not charging. Outdoor events that qualify for an exemption must comply with the provisions of fire, life, and safety requirements and receive a certificate of exemption from the appropriate fire and rescue agency. And also, the county reserves the right to establish such additional conditions, criteria, or detailed specifications for the outdoor event permit as it may deem necessary to carry out the intent of this article for the protection of public health, safety, and general welfare. So, our main concern is, even though you're not charging, if you're going to have 150, 200, 300 people, and there's a chance that someone can be hurt, that's our big concern, is we just want.
Can the fire district and the sheriff's department sign off on an exemption for some of these events?
Under the current ordinance, exemptions,
I mean, someone could be injured if there's 25 people watching.
right. Are you charging? Okay.
We have things going on 5 nights a week that would cost me $6,000.
Are you, do you fall under religious, private school, political, or 501c3? No.
We're not for-profit, or we're not a non-profit.
Excuse me?
We're not for-profit, but we're not a non-profit.
I think they fall under it.
I think we're trying to get our head around
This is where they fall under.
where we're trying to get information to an event, let's say, occurring at
I understand it's a beer festival, wine festival,
Yeah.
all of those.
we don't want to be, the pro doesn't want to be surprised that there will be 2,500 people in one area.
Right.
And we didn't know anything about it. That's like one thing, I'm in charge of putting out every Friday afternoon, I put out a weekend event.
Right.
And that notifies everybody in the sheriff's office, fire department, things like that.
Well, that's what, like, Black Holiday, 4th of July, we don't permit our Wednesday nights. It's a fireworks show, the sheriff of the fire district signs off on it. But, it's no different, it's just music and fireworks for the most part.
Yeah, like I said, we're still working on this ordinance right now. There's gonna be different ways we can handle things, right, according to the county commission. The main thing is let us know this event will be held.
Well,
the
now-
storytelling and people are,
Well, like, for instance, you get a permit for your concert series that y'all, it's not a permit for every single, I don't know if it's Wednesdays or Tuesdays or what night you're having it now, but you get a permit for the concert series.
right.
Just like you get a
I'm
permit
getting
for,
feedback that-
there's a permit for the farmer's market. It's not for every single Saturday.
No, I understand, so I just want, I'm giving feedback that if we're saying that at any event that someone could be injured, and that we're trying to, there might be a revision in the ordinance, that we're not charging for every single, like, gathering.
No, we're not saying that we expect you to charge, and we're not,
No, that you guys don't charge us $100 for.
No.
Okay.
that's not what,
That's kind of confusing, that's all.
no, our big thing is your calendar of events. Okay, there would be a charge for the series of concerts, just the one charge. And there would be a charge for the weekly farmer's market, what have you. And a story time where you're going to have, 20 or 30 children. That's not our biggest concern. Our big concern is we've had a lot of events where there are 300 adults and alcohol and darkness, and there's where the safety lies, and no permit. And we just need to stop that, because sheriff and fire needs to know what's going on, and someone needs to wake up this person and say, I don't see any lighting here, and this is going to be going on until 10 o'clock, and you're going to be serving alcohol. You've got a permit for a temporary one-day alcohol permit. You need to light this somehow.
Well, what, as a follow-up for lighting, then, as an existing property that's zoned and coded per Walton County and state, what additional lighting would be required for something that's already in existence for people
Well-
who are there on a Tuesday night where there is no event, they're in the same area on Wednesday night?
It's going to be on a case by case, but Seaside has lighting.
Yeah.
The entire town has lighting.
Yeah.
This
We had an
event-
event at, I'll just say it, I don't care.
Yeah, and
We
everybody
had-
was feeding.
We had an event at Eden State Park,
Right.
and it was pitch black.
and there were sheriff's
And
deputies
we were
that happened
getting
to
calls,
be there.
we got calls from people, and that's a concern for us.
No, okay, I thought someone
That was
had
a,
drove by.
that was a concern for us, but, that's not the only event, that's taken place that way, and I'm not bashing that event, I didn't go, I can only go on what people tell me, but part of the problem that we have is, in the current ordinance, it doesn't give a specific number, Alan, to maybe try to answer your question. It doesn't say if you have 20 people show up, if you have 2,000 people show up, and that's what we're trying to do as a.
If you're talking about life and safety, on Wednesday night concert where 200 or 300 people are just sitting there watching, not drink, I mean, they might have a drink from one of the establishments, but, it's a little bit different than when you're at beer festival, and that's the primary focus of the event.
Well, and
alcohol related.
See, you are covered under the event, the current ordinance, under item number, I believe it's item number 3. Existing businesses or entities that have a development order approval for outdoor events as an accessory use and when no public liability exposure exists. So right now, you are exempt, but what we're trying to get at is we just need to know if there's going to end up being a large crowd at this event that's already approved. Not necessarily, right now, we're not looking at necessarily the $100 fee for every time, but fire and sheriff need to know.
Well,
So-
even if it's not a large event, not to interrupt, we got 50 people that are gonna be running on 38, it's gonna shut down 38, that's just as important from a safety point of view as 300 people sitting on grass.
Right.
So
Right.
it's not just a numbers issue, it's a safety.
No,
So if we just know about it, we can get some of the information, to make it easier on what about the new permit.
I have a question.
Sure.
You say that you can get paid $100 for an event permit for a concert series. That seems odd because I have 2 small events, but I have to pay $100 for each event. But if I had a whole concert series, a whole series of things, I would only pay $100 and get the whole concert. That really doesn't seem quite.
Well, a lot of these places have already gone through a very expensive development order process approval because they're a resort, they have their own private property.
And mine are on the resort, mine are at Rosemary Beach also, so I don't see how that would be different from a concert series that,
Well, I believe you've already got a series of, farmers markets at Rosemary?
no, those are not my events.
Oh, okay,
I only have 2 events
okay.
at Rosemary.
I'll have to look into that.
Okay,
We're-
it
we're-
just, from a fairness standpoint, it doesn't seem right for a nonprofit
Well,
to have to pay $200 for 2 small events when you could get a whole concert series, which lot of
Okay.
liability there for $100.
We'll look at that. Okay, part of it is their event is on the same day, at the same place, at the same time, and they review that, and sheriff and fire review it as a whole, and they're generally about the same, whereas your 2, depending upon the time of the year, you could have a higher or lower attendance, you could have slightly different nuances to the event, but I will look at that, okay? If you'll get with me afterwards and give me your name, I will get with that and let you know.
Non-for-profit. You ever-
Yeah, 501(c)(3).
That would be an exemption, wouldn't it?
That's right. I didn't realize, you said you were with you're not with Town of Rosemary?
And the Rosemary Beach Foundation, which is a separate entity.
Oh, okay, all right,
According to the ordinance, you'd be exempt from the
Yes.
permit,
Or
From the fee.
From the
from
amount.
the fee.
Some of the language we're proposing is you would still have to go through the permitting process, but not necessarily the fee.
Not necessarily the fee.
That's what we're trying to accomplish.
I was never told that before.
Yes, sir.
When will you start your monthly meeting?
They are starting next month. They are starting, so anyone that has an application in right now that has not been processed, we will meet Monday, August 4th at 9 a.m. in this room. So if you,
You have an event all.
No, our event is actually in March. It's a seaside school half marathon we do every year, but typically people are making, when we open our website and start selling the event, people start making plane reservations, because typically we get people from
Right.
45 states.
how far in advance have you been submitting your application?
We try to do it, I try to do it in March for the following year.
Okay,
But the county commissions are saying, they basically said, just wait until, your event's fine, wait until, later on in the year, but,
well, and I think that gets you a closer count of how many people you're expecting also.
well, we know, because it sells out in a day.
Oh, it sells out in a day, okay.
As soon as we opened the website, last year, we opened it at 9 o'clock in the morning, it was sold out at 7 or 9. And that was in September for a March event.
Okay,
That we didn't have the permit, all I had was the promise from the county commissioners that it won't be a problem.
okay.
And all I wanna do is make sure that when we open our website and people are starting to make plane reservations to get down to Seaside that have never been here before, that ultimately we're not gonna be jeopardized.
Well, whenever you'd like to go ahead and submit your application, we can go ahead and get that to the next committee meeting and get that locked down. Okay, Kevin?
Just 2 questions. So if someone is a representative from the actual entity, can't be present because of either a travel schedule or work, how does that work for those monthly meetings? Is that something that?
If you could just send someone,
If there isn't a proxy in place or?
yes,
is
just,
there-
if you can just send an authorized representative that can sit in for you and can answer any questions or can take questions back to you.
Okay.
And then you,
Can
you
it
know,
also be where if someone can't be present, is what I'm asking, period, is there any way that the communication can still happen with this review? I'm just thinking of worst case scenario.
I think we discussed having
I can call in, is there like?
30-day, but then they'd have to be,
Like just the,
the fee would be adjusted.
well, he's saying that
Right, if you
Can-
can't make it on
if
that
he can't make
initial
it to the
meeting.
committee, can their application be reviewed by the committee?
and is there a way to conference in? I'm just, some.
We could possibly, we
Yeah.
could, I don't know, I can't really conference in here. Huh? Well, we can, we just have to review it, and if there were any questions, we'd have to get with you by email, but, that could delay the process. Just, we're trying to streamline this so that it goes smoother for all the committee and it goes smoother for all the event planners, so they've got their permit in hand and they know that they have everything they need to proceed.
Is this event, excuse me, this meeting, is it just open to the event planners themselves, or if this event directly impacts the community, can a representative from the community come to, find out exactly what, like, the parking plan for, see, like, for the town council for Seaside? That would be,
all
significant
meetings-
impact on us.
All meetings of the county are open to the public, yes. The purpose of this meeting is for us to review the application, but yes, you can come. It's just to get us all in one place at one time rather than trying to track everyone down, because we all work in different parts of the county at different times. And there was another hand.
So nonprofits, if you're a 501c3 nonprofit, you do not have to pay a permitting fee?
No, that's correct. Yes, sir.
I've got a comment about, obviously, the ordinance is being changed a little bit or looked at. I would strongly encourage to have it as a universally enforceable document and item, because it's sounds like there's some unfairness, where some folks are not getting permits and some are. And I have a question about my own event, which is at Gulf Place. If Gulf Place has it part of their calendar year, does that exempt me from getting a permit and just doing it under Gulf Place events?
You still have to require a permit, I would assume, because yours is for the parade.
For the parade, yes.
Correct.
So the festival itself is at Gulf Place.
Because it's at Gulf Place, I think Gulf Place has to handle that.
That would simplify my process
Yes.
a lot.
Basically, your parade ends at Gulf Place and the festivities take place there.
Right.
And
So
then
I
they
would
have to
guess
get a- they
that
have to
Gulf
get a
Place would have to get the permit.
For the
Right, 'cause in the past
festival.
that I've got it, and we've never charged, so technically going by the ordinance, I never should need to get one.
So are you a 501c3 or?
No, it's just me. Losing money every year.
Someone else had their hand up behind. Are there any other questions? I think, told you that we're looking at, revising the ordinance. We've been looking at the whole calendar of events things, because it does not seem to help any of the committee, and we've spoken with several event planners, and it doesn't really seem to help them by submitting it to us. Things change, so we're looking at that.
We should ask them, Sarah on the group,
Ask them.
what they think about calendar events.
Is there anyone here that finds submitting us your annual calendar events helpful?
Can I just go through the process a little bit? And first of all, let me say thank you to each of you. We work with you and we appreciate it very much. And we understand you're trying to kind of streamline what has sometimes been an arduous process. We probably started 5 years ago at Grand Boulevard putting in a calendar of events, okay? So we do details. We say times, how many people, we submit parking maps and keys and everything we can think of. We fill out the sheriff's paperwork, and then we have been paying under what we call an umbrella, okay, $100 fees, so that we didn't have to pay $100 every time we were doing an event. So we turn that in, and then our challenge has been to make sure far enough in advance that we're calling and reminding people we need our permit, or trying to schedule walkthroughs, or getting with the sheriff's office and making sure we've got our deputies covered for security. And, everybody tries to be accommodating and get back with us, but we inevitably end up in this kind of, tunnel where, we're getting down to the last minute, and for whatever reason, we don't have our paperwork turned in, and we felt like we did everything we're supposed to do. And then, like I said, thank goodness we've got Chelsea, because Chelsea's just on the phone all the time, or email,
And see, that's what a lot of event planners thought. They thought they submitted in January and we handled everything. Well, outdoor events is not the only thing we do.
Right, but let me just clarify there. We get it, we won't wait till the last minute to call you guys, we start calling like 60 days out and saying, we turned it in, we're just, so we don't just turn it in and expect it, we realize how those black holes sometimes kind of work. I mean, we wanna, be proactive about it and everything, so obviously some challenges there, and we just wanna continue to work with you guys so that we're doing it by the book. I mean, that's really what we're just trying to do.
And as far as planning, I know some of us have been here around since dirt, but
And
some of us that are here now weren't here when they enacted the calendar, and it doesn't work for us. We went through a period where we were very shorthanded anyway, and like I said, we do so many other things in our department. We don't have time to keep track of everyone's events, and it wasn't intended for that. It was intended to give us a heads up. Okay, it looks like we're going to have like 70 events in July, over the whole county. Not you, but a lot of people have fallen into that. Well, I submitted it in January, and we're like, somebody will look at the folder and say, oh my gosh, they've got an event coming up in 7 days, and it's like, we haven't gotten anything from you. Well, I submitted that back in January. No, you didn't. So it just seems to cause a lot of scrambling for everyone. And like I said, we've had other event planners say it's just really not useful, and it's not that helpful to us. It's better to just permit the events. Yes.
So you'd still want us to submit the calendar of events, right? I mean,
Yes, if you like, even if it's just a list of the 12 months of the year with how many events, what events you're going to have in those months, not necessarily details, but then, like I said, it gives us an idea that we're going to have 75 events in July. It gives us an idea that we need to boost up and be ready, be prepared for that. Who knows, the 30 days or whatever prior, if we have a month where we can see that we're going to have a large number, we might have 2 ORC that month, rather than trying to process 60 events in one morning. We may split it up into 2 meetings.
So just to clarify, so we do the calendar of events, and then we come to the monthly meeting, and then we bring copies of all our,
Right.
or I guess that's when we bring
Yes.
our application.
At the beginning of the year, you don't need to submit an application for all your, an individual one for all your events. We prefer that the 45 days out from the event, so that we're just looking at that application for that event, that run, or that festival, or that wine festival. Because otherwise, then we're searching for that particular one. What I think some of them do is just a list of what you're going to have at the beginning of the year. It's not all of the details, okay?
So then we'll bring the details to that monthly meeting,
Right.
and then the committee
You'll-
will look at everything and
Right.
get everything signed.
You'll
off.
submit all the details, the sheriff sheet, the fire sheet, and the application for that event, 45 days out. You'll come before the committee, everyone will review it, and we'll give you the go-ahead, the green light. And that way, you won't have to make lots and lots of calls. You'll just submit it one time, you'll come to the committee, and then you'll get your permit.
So we've also got to bring check if there's a fee involved
Yes.
for that event.
Yes.
You're saying 45 days, so that means when you meet on August 4th, we'll be discussing events that are happening
In August and
late
September.
October.
Well, late August and September, because
45 days.
the application should have been submitted between now and the first, anything submitted between now and the 1st of August, we're gonna review at that meeting. Okay?
Keep in mind that the ordinance says a minimum of 45 days in advance, so you can submit that further in advance than that, or come to the meeting prior to that.
That's the point then, so we wouldn't submit at the beginning of the year and just get them all approved in January, because is that not possible? Because to Rick's point, and Lauren, we have these events, we know how many people are gonna be there, this is what puts heads and beds, and we've marketed it well in advance, where it's been going on for 25 years. So can we just get them all approved in January?
I'm just gonna go on
I'm just wondering
history.
how the process works.
I would say no, and the reason being is you're gonna submit an event in January for something in July. You got that many months where you're telling me only 1,000 people are gonna show up. And then in June, you've already sold 2,500 tickets. I mean, that's good for you, but that's not good for us when it comes to event planning.
Yeah, we have.
I mean, we have to work with 750 people, we're not gonna sell one.
Right. Yeah, but a lot of these events aren't capped.
No, I understand. That's where a lot of this comes from.
Right.
The events will be permitted, and then we'll be told there's a known attendance, and it'll double or triple when the event comes,
And-
because there has been a cap.
And another one of my concerns would be this. We end up on January 3rd or 4th, or whenever the first Monday falls, or the second Monday falls in January, we end up with 150 applications to review
Yeah, that's not feasible.
in a morning meeting. That's part of the problem, because there are so many of you entities, and if you submit all of your applications for all of your events for the entire year, the first week of January, well, actually, you would have had to submit, you would have to have all your applications in December, early December, to be scheduled for the
Right.
January. And then, not only us, you all have jobs to do too. And you're stuck sitting here waiting for the review committee to spend 8 hours reviewing everyone's applications for the entire year. That doesn't seem practical for any of us.
Wouldn't it be beneficial to do it all in one day as opposed to come 12 days? You know, instead of coming the first of every month, I would rather sit here for 8 hours one day than 4 hours 12 days.
Because that is our job, I mean, this is what, we have to ensure that our clients know that these events are going to be approved, so that we don't find out 45 days before that something's changed on your end. And we know how many people are gonna be at Seaside 4th of July. It's, you know, I mean, that's our concern.
When you're developing this process, could you not put something in place to say, if you have a cap, and, you know, this is the maximum
Permits only
you're
valid
ever gonna have?
What if,
There is probably 50 or 75 events up and down,
all right,
you know, in Walton County that will have the same number of people every year, because we can't get any more people in, or we can't get any more people on the road.
okay.
Whatever happens.
Committee, how do you feel about quarterly? That would reduce the number of events that we're reviewing in one day.
The only issue with that in my mind is that you have some event planners, we've always tried to make sure we're telling event planners no, they couldn't do something. Even to the extent where people are coming in on a Friday afternoon for an event Saturday morning, regardless of what the ordinance says, we work with those folks, drop everything we're doing, and get their event done. And so I think if you go quarterly, the problem you have is you're gonna have somebody who comes in and doesn't know, the rules, and you're gonna say, well, you missed a quarterly meeting, so.
Well,
Quite frankly, if they know, if they have a set number of people that they're gonna cap it at, then I'm fine with that, as long as we say the permit's only valid for a number of people, so.
Well,
If the nine people was coming,
I think,
plan.
yeah, with the sheriff's, on the sheriff's side, we had a conference a month ago. We planned 2,500 people, and probably 5,000 people showed up. Our plan was to have, we had 10 deputies, maybe 8 there, for 2,500 people. And now, we're dealing with over 5,000 people. We need to know, there's caps that y'all talking about. You all need to live by those caps.
this is,
You could establish it per community, I mean, like, Seaside, Grand Boulevard, Rosemary Beach, you could literally just set aside a day, we'll bring stuff from our merchants to make you happy, but, just to have a day where it's like, we will address your events, because in that way, the problem with the events where 5,000 people show up is because the communication with that development may not be as established, or that, or whatever happens, that they didn't know that it was going to be like that, and that can happen, but if the communication is clear with that development, then it's not going to blindside you, because you're in constant communication about ticket sales, you're constant communication about heads and beds and that type of thing.
well, I tell you what, everyone, I should have everyone here's email address, and apparently probably some that aren't here. Let the committee get together and discuss the best way to handle this. The reason that we wanted to do this once a month, just like we do TRC, is we're only dealing with the events that are coming up in the next 30 days. And like I said, we all have lots of other stuff that we do too. And we have to be in different parts of the county and other meetings doing other jobs. Let us discuss it, and I will email y'all with what we came back with, because it sounds like we might have to do it over more than one day.
Well, the original plan was, the meeting's going to hold, will be held for 15, 20 minutes, at most. You'd have all your paperwork
Yeah.
there, all the information you have, and if it'd be an overview, we should get the information before the meeting, right?
Right, we should have everything when we come into the meeting. We had only scheduled this from 9 to 12, once a month on Mondays, to allow us time to process the events for the next 30 days. What I'm gonna ask, let the committee discuss it. If you should all have my email address. If not, get with me after the meeting and I will get you my card. And I'm gonna let you email me your comments or concerns. Let the committee meet and discuss how we want to handle January and processing the permits, either monthly or once at the beginning.
Well, we're still gonna have to meet, because there's a lot of events that
that are
just
individual.
pop up.
Yeah, we're still gonna have to meet once a month, but let us discuss how to handle the large entities that have multiple events every month, and determine what's gonna work for everyone, because I understand that this is y'all's job, this is what you do, but it's not the only thing we do. There are lots of ordinances that we have to enforce, and lots of meetings that are already held every single month. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd like to make a suggestion about when emails are going back and forward, if there was one catch-all email that we could send it to. Sometimes in the past, we've kind of had copy folks on it, maybe somebody got missed. You guys have internal personnel changes, but it'd be awfully nice if it was just events at Walton CO, and then you guys copy each other internally. Because I've found it in the past where I've supplied paperwork to one, not gonna name names, but to some entity, and I've been waiting for the other one to get back to the other one and let people know that the process has gone through. And it's taken me longer, gone past the 45 days limit, so I'm getting closer, and it's really not my fault. I've submitted the information, so it's really helpful if it was just one entity that we were contacting with.
I will
And
see.
you guys sort out who that goes to.
I'll see about creating possibly a group email and get it to y'all, so that when you send your event or your question, it goes, so that if one person is out on vacation, the others are not. Okay. Any other questions from anyone?
Is there gonna be you said earlier in the meeting, after this, overview meeting for the event, we have 7 days, I have no problem with the deadline, we have 7 days to get that permit for them?
Yes.
Will be a deadline in that order? Within 7 days, you should know.
Yes.
You've got all the paperwork to us then?
Yes, if all their paperwork is in order, they will get their permit within 7 days. But if you or fire or admin needs more information, they did not bring everything to the meeting that we needed, then there's no guarantee that they'll get their permit within 7 days.
If you can do your events earlier,
Yeah, just make sure that you fill out your applications completely and submit all the, there is a submittal checklist on the current application, which is gonna be revised a little bit, but make sure you go down the submittal checklist and make sure that you have everything on it before you turn your applications in. Yes.
So do we turn in our application and all backup paperwork prior to the Monday meeting, so you had time to review it before
Yes.
the Monday meeting?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so like the week before, or how far in advance before that meeting?
The application should be submitted at least 45 days before the event.
Right,
And when we get it, we say, okay, if we received it, I forgot what 45 days is, say we received it on the 23rd of July, just picking a date. Okay, the next ORC meeting is August 4th, and we would email you and say, you're scheduled to appear before the ORC on August 4th. The committee, at that time, will give you their findings on your permit application. And if at that meeting, you have everything in order, and you've submitted everything on the checklist, and you have all your signatures and all your parking plan, whatever you need, then they'll tell you, okay, everything appears to be in order, we don't have any more questions, you'll receive your permit within 7 days.
and who do we submit the application to at this point?
You still submit the application, this one's marked up, the application, planning application here to the planning department. Did we not discuss, are they still sending fire and sheriff directly to y'all and admin? Or are they submitting it, because your admin is part of our application?
I thought it was part of the packet. Would it help if everything, all our things was in there?
Okay, and then we can just forward it to y'all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Y'all can be the clearing house, y'all agree?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Y'all, one person, one entity can be the clearing house.
When I finish the revisions to the application, I will make sure that I have attached, the other two forms, because admins is already part of our application. And I will, like I said, I will email you a copy, and if you will, throw away all your old obsolete copies and simply use the one I send you. Yes, ma'am?
So you're saying we submit everything to you, and you're gonna in turn give that application to the fire department and the police department? I no longer need to go to them, you're gonna do that for me?
Yes.
Okay.
And that way, everyone will get it prior to the meeting, and then we'll sit at the meeting, everyone will have their approval forms, and we'll review it with you. And like I said, just fill out the thing that we say constantly to our developers and engineers who submit for development approvals is, please fill out the application completely and legibly. Make sure we have an email and a phone contact, and go down the submittal checklist and make sure you submit everything that you're supposed to submit with it. You had another question?
So we did our umbrella for the calendar for events back in January, so you've already got all of our information on that?
Including fire, does fire and sheriff have theirs also?
Not yet, but we do that as the event comes. So do I need to now go back and resubmit all that stuff in a packet to you now that we're doing this new process, or?
No, I will go, I'll pull, we have one folder on you, I'll pull that, but we'll definitely need to make sure that you've got your fire and your sheriff.
Yeah,
And any admin, or do you not ever close any roads or put any road signage? Okay, no road signage? Okay. All right. Anyone else?
One more thing, some of y'all have the old sheriff's department application, and we need to have most current.
Okay, I have, there are additional email addresses, once I add them to my list. If you'll send that to me, I'll forward it to the entire list that I've been collecting of email addresses and get it to all of you. And once again, when I send you the new sheriff's form, please throw away any that you already have.
I'm
Yes,
trying to make ours electronically signed, so it'd be, I thought this form I have now, the latest one, it might work, so I gotta tweak it some more.
I just wasn't sure if I could go to the website, or say post it online, like the most current one.
No, not right now.
Okay.
Not right now. He's been making some revisions, and like I said, I'm in the process of revising the outdoor event application. Once we have everything together and everything finalized, we will Probably put a link, on the website, on the county website under outdoor event, and we'll make sure that the information's updated, list the meeting dates, and, have all the applications available there. But right now, like I said, we're in the process of revamping everything, so we're still in process. Yes, sir?
Do you have an idea when those new outdoor applications will be available?
I hope to have it, the revisions finished in the next few days, hopefully by the end of the week. I'll just,
I'm going to
excuse me?
when is it going?
Well, the new application will be in effect, because none of the changes I'm making are based on any changes to the ordinance. They're simply to make it better for us to process. Nothing to do with any changes to the ordinance. So that'll be, as soon as I get it finished, it can be effective. Just keep in mind, if the ordinance does get revised, I may have to tweak the application a little bit, but once again, I will email it to all of you and let you know this is the updated ordinance.
What's the timeline on revising the ordinance?
We have to request permission to revise it on next Tuesday, and we are hoping to take it before the Board of County Commissioners in August. That's our goal.
There's 2 public hearings.
Two?
So,
I thought it was code of ordinance.
August, September time.
August, September.
I'll check.
All right. Any other questions? Well, I really appreciate all of you taking the time to come here this morning. I hope we've answered any questions. If you do not have my email address, right, some of you have already emailed, because I emailed you to let you know about this meeting. I'm Carrie Thiemann. If you did not get an email directly from me, come and see me and I'll get you my card with my email address, and then you can email any questions or concerns that you come up with after the meeting's over. Okay? Thank you so much.
I've got plenty of cards, everybody knows you're
Yeah, we're gonna have a brief meeting afterwards. Yeah.
I'll put it down.